Have you ever noticed how sometimes, in the morning, your joints feel stiff, as if someone tied them with invisible ropes overnight? Or how your knees start to protest after a walk that used to be easy? This isn't just age, my dears. It's often our body's cry for help, a signal that a silent war is going on inside. Inflammation. Over the years, our cartilage, that wonderful natural cushion in our joints, naturally wears down and becomes thinner. And some foods we eat every day, without a second thought, add fuel to this fire of inflammation, accelerating the destruction and turning mild stiffness into real pain. Imagine, treacherous sugar acts like sticky molasses, gumming everything up inside and causing irritation. Harmful fats are like rust, slowly corroding the mechanisms of our joints. And some processed foods are like small pebbles in your shoe, constantly rubbing and giving you no peace. But there's good news. By removing just a few of these saboteurs from your diet and replacing them with beneficial allies, you can feel incredible relief. Less pain, more flexibility, a surge of energy, and an ease of movement you might have started to forget. And most importantly, these tips are as simple as can be and won't require heroic efforts or exotic products. I promise, everything you need is already at hand or in the nearest store. Let's walk this path to comfort and ease together. Watch this video to the end, and you'll find out how to help your joints feel younger. Saying goodbye to sweet traps, sugar, and simple carbohydrates. So, the first and perhaps most obvious enemy of our joints is excess sugar and simple carbohydrates. Think about white bread, buns, pastries, candies, sugary sodas. Sound familiar? Well, it's time to replace these sweet but treacherous temptations. Instead, let your table feature more often. Whole grain bread, whole grain porridges, buckwheat, slow-cooked oatmeal quinoa, fresh fruits, and berries. I want to tell you the story of Arthur, who is 72 years old. Arthur loved starting his morning with a couple of slices of white toast, slathered with a generous layer of jam, and after lunch, he'd always treat himself to cookies or waffles with tea. He complained of constant aching pain in his knees and fingers, especially in the mornings. He used to say, "Getting old is no fun, what can you do?" When I suggested he try cutting out obvious sugar and white bread, he initially brushed it off. "What difference will these little things make?" "They're my little pleasures," he said doubtfully. He felt that depriving himself of familiar sweets was like taking away the last bit of enjoyment. But the joint pain became increasingly persistent, and he decided to try it, more out of desperation. He started small, replaced white bread with whole grain, put a thin layer of avocado, or just a little butter on his toast instead of jam. He swapped cookies for a handful of nuts or an apple. Sugary soda was replaced with water with lemon or herbal tea. The first few days felt strange. His hand kept reaching for the sugar bowl. But after just a couple of weeks, Arthur noticed something amazing. The morning stiffness in his fingers lessened. His knees still reminded him of their presence, but not as sharply. And the most unexpected thing, he had more energy throughout the day, and the sharp mood swings after lunch disappeared. Do you know why? Sugar and simple carbs cause a sharp spike in blood sugar, followed by an equally sharp drop. It's like a roller coaster for your body, draining energy and provoking inflammation throughout the body, including the joints. But whole grains, fruits, and vegetables provide energy slowly and steadily, like a calm river, nourishing you without causing storms. The fiber in them is like a caring gardener for your gut, and a healthy gut is key to reducing overall inflammation in the body. Arthur admitted, "I never thought something as small as bread could have such an impact. I feel lighter somehow." So, my friends, try making one small swap today. Maybe instead of a candy with your tea, have a handful of berries, or choose buckwheat for dinner instead of white rice. Your joints will thank you. Beware of harmful fats. Away with fried and processed foods. The next item on our list is harmful fats, especially trans fats and excess omega-6 fatty acids, which often hide in fried foods, fast food, margarine, store-bought baked goods, and many packaged snacks. They act on our joints like corrosive acid, intensifying inflammation and pain. So, what should we do? Make replacements. Instead of frying in a pan with lots of oil, try baking, stewing, or steaming. Instead of margarine, use quality butter in moderation or extra virgin olive oil. and replace snacks like chips and crackers with a handful of nuts, seeds, a piece of avocado, or low-fat yogurt. Let me share the story of Eleanor, who is 68 years old. Eleanor adored crispy fried potatoes and often bought ready-made pies from the deli. She always spread margarine on her bread. It's light, she thought. In recent years, she suffered from pain in her hip joints, started limping, and in the evenings, her legs often swelled, feeling filled with lead. She tried ointments and compresses, but the relief was temporary. The thought of giving up her beloved fried potatoes seemed like sacrilege. But that's the taste of childhood. And what will I eat? She lamented. The habit was strong, and cooking differently seemed complicated and unappetizing. But when the pain started preventing her from even going for walks with her grandchildren, Eleanor decided on an experiment. She bought a good baking dish and started making potatoes in the oven with herbs and a drop of olive oil. Instead of pies, she began making simple salads with chicken breast or fish baked in foil. She put the margarine away, replacing it with olive oil for salads, and occasionally allowing herself a small piece of butter on whole grain bread. And what do you think? After about a month, she noticed with surprise that the evening swelling had almost disappeared. The joint pain hadn't gone completely, but it became significantly weaker, not as sharp or constant. She could walk with her grandchildren again without fearing her leg would seize up. I felt like I'd shed invisible weights from my legs, she recounted, and the oven-baked potatoes turned out to be even tastier. Can you believe it? The physiology here is simple. Trans fats and excess omega-6 are inflammation triggers. They literally clog our blood vessels and cells, hindering normal metabolism. Beneficial fats like omega-3s in fatty fish, flaxseed, and monounsaturated fats in olive oil, avocado, on the other hand, act like lubricant for the joints and help extinguish inflammation. It's like replacing old, rusty hinges on a door with new, well-oiled ones. Movement becomes smooth and silent. Choose fats that heal, not harm. Maybe bake fish for dinner tonight instead of frying patties. A small step, a big relief for your joints. Enemy number 3, hiding in your kitchen. Vegetable oils for frying. And here is that mysterious enemy, likely sitting on your kitchen shelf right now or used in products you consider harmless. We're talking about common refined vegetable oils, sunflower, corn, soybean, rapeseed, canola, and blends labeled simply vegetable oil. Yes, those large, clear bottles we're used to using for frying and adding to baked goods. Why are they harmful? They contain a huge amount of omega-6 fatty acids. We do need omega-6s, but their balance with omega-3 acids is critically important. In the modern diet, this balance is heavily skewed towards omega-6, sometimes 20.1, instead of a healthy 1.1 or 4.1, and this imbalance is a powerful driver of chronic inflammation throughout the body, including the joints. What to replace them with? For salads and finished dishes, extra virgin olive oil, EVOO, is ideal. For cooking at moderate temperatures, stewing, light sautéing, regular olive oil, not extra virgin but simply virgin or pure, or avocado oil is suitable. For high temperature frying, it's better to use ghee, clarified butter, or coconut oil, but remember their saturated fat content, use moderately. And most importantly, read the labels on ready-made products, cookies, sauces, mayonnaise, crackers. These oils hide everywhere. Let's remember David, 75 years old. David was convinced he ate quite healthily. He rarely ate fried meat, preferring chicken, but he cooked almost everything with regular sunflower oil. It's vegetables, so it must be healthy. Plus, he loved crackers and various cookies with his tea, without paying much attention to the ingredients. His main problem was his hands. His fingers didn't bend well, especially in the mornings. It was hard even to open a jar or hold a cup. He attributed it to age and arthritis, and took painkillers. The idea that the oil he'd cooked with his whole life could be the culprit seemed absurd to him. Come on, oil is oil. What nonsense is this, he grumbled. But when we analyzed the ingredients of his favorite crackers together and saw palm and sunflower oil listed, and then talked about the omega-6 and omega-3 balance, he started thinking. He decided to experiment. He bought a bottle of good olive oil for salads and avocado oil for cooking. He started reading labels more carefully and choosing cookies with minimal ingredients that didn't contain these hidden oils. About 2 months passed, and David called me, joy in his voice. You know, this morning I opened a jar of pickles myself. I always used to ask my wife. and my fingers, they seem more obedient, less wooden. He wasn't cured of arthritis completely, but his quality of life improved noticeably. Why? Imagine a seesaw. On one side, omega-6, pro-inflammatory, on the other, omega-3, anti-inflammatory. When we eat too many products with cheap vegetable oils, the omega-6 side weighs down heavily, and the inflammation seesaw tilts way up. By replacing these oils with olive oil or adding sources of omega-3s, fatty fish, chia seeds, flaxseed, to our diet, we help balance this seesaw, calming the inflammatory processes. Take a look in your kitchen cupboard right now. What kind of oil do you have? Perhaps simply changing the bottle of oil will become your secret weapon against joint pain. Red and processed meat. Moderation above all. Another group of products to be cautious with after 60 is red meat. Beef, pork, lamb, and especially processed meat. Sausages, hot dogs, bacon, ham, smoked meats. They contain saturated fats and substances called advanced glycation end products, AGEs, which contribute to inflammation and oxidative stress in the body, negatively impacting the joints. I'm not urging you to become vegetarians, no, but reducing red meat consumption to 1 to 2 times a week and making processed meat a rare guest at your table. That's an excellent idea. What to replace them with? Give preference to poultry, chicken, turkey, fish, especially fatty fish, rich in omega-3s, salmon, mackerel, herring, and also plant-based protein sources, legumes, beans, lentils, chickpeas, tofu. The story of Margaret, 70 years old, is very telling. Margaret grew up in a family where meat was the staple of the diet. Breakfast with bacon or sausages, lunch with a pork chop or goulash, dinner also involved something meaty. She couldn't imagine lunch without a piece of meat. But in recent years, her hip joint bothered her greatly. The pain was sometimes so bad it was difficult to get up from her chair. Doctors mentioned osteoarthritis, suggested surgery, but she was afraid. Giving up her usual meat-heavy diet seemed unthinkable to her. But I'll go hungry. What will fill me up then? She worried. It wasn't just habit, but also the feeling of satiety that meat gave her. Gradually, step by step, she began making changes. Instead of bacon for breakfast, she started eating eggs or oatmeal with berries. For lunch, she replaced the pork chop with baked chicken breast or a turkey patty. A couple of times a week, she started cooking fish. She discovered a delicious lentil soup, which turned out to be surprisingly filling. She saved red meat for weekends only. And you know what happened? After a few months, Margaret noticed that the pain in her hip became different, not as sharp, not as constant. She still felt discomfort, but she could walk longer without resorting to painkillers, and strangely enough, she had more energy. She could once again enjoy tending to her beloved garden. The explanation here is that red and processed meat are like throwing logs onto the fire of inflammation. Fish, poultry, and legumes are more like pouring water on that fire, calming the flames. The omega-3 fatty acids in fish have powerful anti-inflammatory effects. Plant protein is easier to digest and doesn't create such a burden on the body. Think about whether red or processed meat appears too often on your table. Maybe try swapping one such meal this week for fish or a bean dish. Your joints will appreciate this care. Life-giving moisture. Don't forget to drink water. This advice might seem trivial, but its importance cannot be overstated, especially when it comes to joint health. Drink enough plain water throughout the day. Often, with age, the sense of thirst often dulls, and we drink less than our body needs. Yet, the cartilage tissue in our joints is more than 70% water. Dehydration makes cartilage less elastic, more brittle, and vulnerable to damage. Plus, water helps flush out toxins and inflammatory byproducts from the body. Replace sugary drinks, juices, even freshly squeezed in large amounts, that's sugar, and even excess coffee or strong tea with plain water or herbal teas without sugar. Let's remember George, 78 years old. He constantly complained of dry skin, bowel problems, and general stiffness, especially in his shoulders and knees. He mostly drank coffee in the morning, sometimes a cup of tea during the day, and water, only when he was really thirsty. Why do I need water? I'm not a camel, he used to joke. He thought he got enough liquids from soup and tea. He often felt tired and worn out for no apparent reason. We agreed he would try a simple rule. Keep a bottle of water next to him and take a few sips every hour, even if he didn't feel thirsty. The goal was to drink about 6 to 8 glasses of plain water a day. At first, he had to force himself, but then it became a habit. After a month, George noted with surprise that his skin was less dry, his digestive issues lessened, and, most importantly, his joints bothered him a bit less. He wasn't cured of osteoarthritis, but the morning stiffness started to pass more quickly, and his overall well-being improved. He said, "I feel kind of lubricated from the inside." And that's a wonderful metaphor. Imagine a dry sponge. It's stiff and crumbles easily. Now wet it. It becomes soft, springy, elastic. The same thing happens with our joints when we give them enough water. Water is the transport system of our body. It delivers nutrients to cells and carries away waste products. Without enough water, all these processes slow down, and inflammation intensifies. Keep a glass or bottle of water always within reach. Take a sip right now. It's the simplest and most accessible way to help your joints and your entire body. Become a detective in your kitchen. Read labels. Last but not least, develop the habit of carefully reading the ingredients of the products you buy, especially if it's something packaged, ready-made, or semi-finished. Manufacturers often disguise undesirable ingredients under different names. Look for hidden sugar, corn syrup, fructose, dextrose, maltodextrin, harmful fats, hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated oils. These are trans fats, excess salt, sodium, and those high omega-6 vegetable oils, sunflower, corn, soybean, canola, we talked about in Section 3. Opt for products with short, understandable ingredient lists. The less processed a product is, the generally healthier it is for your joints and overall health. Susan, 65 years old, considered herself a healthy eater. She bought whole grain crackers, yogurts labeled low fat, and ready-made light salad dressings. But her knee pain didn't subside. She was sure she was doing everything right and didn't understand what was wrong. She felt confused and a bit deceived. "But I try. I choose healthy things, and it's no use," she complained. When we went through the labels of her healthy products together, she was astonished. Her favorite crackers contained palm oil and sugar. Her low-fat yogurt had more sugar than some desserts. And in the light salad dressing, the main ingredient after water was soybean oil and several types of sweeteners. Susan felt as if she'd been fooled. She decided to change her approach. She started buying simple whole grain crackers without additives, plain, unsweetened yogurt, adding berries herself, and dressed her salads with olive oil and lemon juice. It required a bit more time reading labels in the store, but the result was worth it. After a couple of months, she noticed her knees started to swell and ache less after walking. She wasn't completely cured, but she felt she had regained control over the situation. "Now I know what I'm eating," she said with pride. "It's like putting on glasses and finally seeing clearly what's on my plate." Reading labels is your personal tool for control, your magnifying glass, allowing you to spot potential traps in the world of packaged foods. Don't be lazy about spending a couple of minutes in the store studying the ingredients. Your kitchen is your fortress, and only you decide what gets inside. Check the label of one product from your fridge or cupboard today. So, these are the simple yet effective steps we can take for the health of our joints. Remember, my dears, this isn't about strict prohibitions or completely giving up everything you love. It's about conscious choices, about small substitutions that will gradually lead to significant positive changes. Your life experience, your wisdom, these are invaluable assets. You've been through a lot, and you truly deserve to enjoy every day without debilitating pain, with ease in your body and joy in your heart. Don't be afraid to try new things. Listen to your body. It's the best advisor. Start with one small step, with one replacement that seems easiest and most accessible to you. You'll be surprised how much strength and potential lies within you. Your health is in your caring hands. Take gentle steps forward. You absolutely deserve to feel your best at any age.